Creating content. People say content is king, but what really is content? And is it all written content? Is it audio content? Is it video content? Well, today we have a video producer on with us with Wes Wyatt, and we'll talk about more about video content and how valuable it can be not only for SEO, but also for building your brand. So let's get into the show. Hi, Wes.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. So I think we've kind of have similar backgrounds and to end up pretty much in the same place, which is what we're both doing right now, which is producing live stream content. But I think your background is totally different from mine. So kind of what is your origin story?
You mean like literally? How far back are we talking? Or are we talking about just with video?
Well, I think what got you interested in video, what turned you to the path of doing video?
Well, I don't know how much we've discussed this, but I've been doing videos since back before the Hello World days, back when everybody had dial up and it was horrible. I mean, found a real interest in it even back then, and watching some of the initial people talk and do video and whatnot, it immediately let me know that there's something there. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but I knew that it was different from the just, static stuff that was online. I mean, when the net first got started, it was more like, Usenet stuff and directories and just things that were just so stagnant. And then, I remember literally the day that you could put video on MySpace, which is going to date me, since MySpace has kind of went the way of the dodo as so far as a social network. But the day that we could put video on there and go and start talking to people and leaving these videos as opposed to having just, a picture or text is probably the day, the where that kind of, tripped that trigger and was like, okay, it's, facts tell, stories sell type situation. Yep. And that's probably the one that really did it. So far as the producing and directing of stuff, that is more of a, last year type situation. I do it for two different clients and then, myself, which admittedly do far more for them than I do for me, which is going to change. But I would say that'd probably be it. Would be the MySpace thing on really starting to kind of dig video.
So were you around during the Blab days as well?
I've been around during Blab. I've been around during all the different incarnations of social networks that Google tried. All sorts of different video stuff that has come and gone, and kind of been on all of them in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, because was a month or two ago, Twitter killed Periscope.
Yeah,
and moved everything to Twitter Live, I guess they're calling it now.
Is it Twitter Live or Twitter Spaces?
Well, Twitter Spaces is audio, which is
okay, that's right.
And then Twitter Live, I think Twitter's trying to be like Facebook, where Facebook's kind of like, well, that's new, let's do that.
Yeah. Now, they're still allowing people to broadcast to Twitter in the form of video. How long do you think that'll last? Do you think it won't go away?
I don't think it'll go away, because I think they're just moving everything, because they had Twitter Live and they had Periscope, and they kind of crossed paths. And I think that they maybe moved their Periscope team over to Twitter Live.
Okay.
That's only a guess. I'm not really sure. But again, I think going live to Twitter is an option, because I went there this morning via Haps, and we can talk about that as well. So as far as content goes, there are many platforms. There's Facebook Live. There's, we were talking about Twitter Live. There's YouTube Live, and there's Instagram, and LinkedIn even has a live platform. And so where do you find you're spending your time, or are you spending your time on everything?
Primarily Facebook, in the form of going through Ecamm, or another type service that allows you to have the green screens and whatnot. I hate to let everybody down, but there's a green screen behind me. It's not a brick wall, but as a matter of fact, Bruce made me change my shirt prior to the beginning of the show because I looked like I had a hole in my chest with a brick wall in the back. But it is probably Facebook more than anything. And then I just recently got the permission to go live on LinkedIn. So I would say probably those two, so far as just the last month. And then you mentioned Haps, and then of course there's another one called Heckle that just popped up. And I have been trying to go live in those every day just to keep a streak going for no other reason than I have always wanted to do that anyway. And I figured this way, if I go live every day from the get-go of being on the platform, then, I'll keep doing it, almost like a streak that the kids do on, what's the one that everybody uses, Snapchat, I guess. So, yeah.
So are you going with a plan, or are you just going with a let's go live? I feel in the mood to go live. I'm going to punch a button on Heckle or on Haps and go live.
The plan is probably the same thing that has always existed. And Bruce, you know this all too well. So I'm speaking to the people that don't. But I would say that the plan is to base what I'm doing on the platform that I'm doing it on. So as an example, you mentioned, two of them. Haps is going to either just Haps and or going out to Facebook, let's say, and Twitter. And those two may have something that is going to be business sense, where I'm talking about something like what we're doing right now. Now, if I'm going out to Heckle, I don't really think that if I'm sitting here doing a talk about this, it's going to be as well received. So I think of something like Heckle and maybe even Haps as a platform to go on and just say, hey guys, just want to say hi. Here's my dog, playing with my cat. Check out this sunrise, check out this sunset, kind of a thing. Whereas I think the other sites, if you're going to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter type thing, is going to be more organized. And then if you're going to those plus LinkedIn, then you're probably really going to have your stuff dialed in just a little bit more to where there's no shenanigans, if you will. I mean, not that people don't want to have fun, but I think that you're going to lose people on the platforms dependent on what the information is. So as an example, I wouldn't go on TikTok and start talking about, the advantages of having a 1099 versus a W-2. I mean, the kids aren't going to listen to that. So there might be a few stray adults, that are like, hey, finally something for me, but I doubt it. So I would say that answer to that is going to be very dependent on what the platform is. What I may do on like a Heckle or a Haps, or something, maybe even Twitter, that's a little bit more young and haphazard and not so organized, is do exactly what you did this morning, which is go on and just say, hey guys, want to let you know I'm going to be talking to Bruce today. We're going to be covering several different aspects of video and cameras. If you get a chance, pop on over. Here's the address. Now that might be a good way to to use those platforms in a way that if you're not going on and showing, like I said, the picture of your cats playing, or whatever you're goofing around about, just as like a quick little, if you're interested, go over here. And just by sheer law of numbers, there are going to be people that are going to do that. So I'd say that's probably my answer. I didn't mean to go so long on it.
That's okay. Yeah, so I gave you full screen, but also we talk about producing and being in the background producing, so it doesn't look like you're not paying attention to your guests. but that's a whole different subject, and we'll get into that in a minute. But we were talking about Haps, so I figure what we do is let's bring it up for those people who have never heard of it, and I'm sure many of our listeners have never heard of Haps. And it is a platform. It's free, and it allows you to go to multiple streams, like kind of like what we're doing here with StreamYard. We're going live here to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. But this also allows you to go to other platforms as well. And you've been on there for a week, and you've been going live a lot more than I have. So why don't you fill me in about what you've been doing with Haps and why you're on it?
Well, first and foremost, I think the reason why I'm on it is because Blab and because Periscope went down, everybody just had this mass exodus to find where we're going to go next. And one of the things that this is not so much video rules out there, but I think that one of the major problems that we all have is that we're in a pond, or not a pond, a fishbowl of people that we interact with. So it's so much better to go from that pond to the bathtub, from the bathtub to a tiny swimming pool, and from the swimming pool to the lake, and the lake to the ocean type thing, where you start getting in circles of people that you've never met before. So especially with Haps, several of the people that I've talked to and followed and have popped in, they're not only not in my influence, but they're in other countries. So they may not have an interest right now in what I'm talking about, but I figure that as long as I keep going, one of the things on these sites that is always the caveat is you always have and you and I talked about this yesterday. I was watching a gentleman that he was giving very good information, and there were people that were beating the living bejesus out of him. And so I really don't have any interest whatsoever in finding a fight like a lot of people do. I'm more interested in going on to those sites. So like a Haps, giving information, making new acquaintances. And at the end of the day, it's going to sound really bad, Bruce, but whether it's Haps, whether it's Heckle, being on any of the platforms, my ultimate goal is to get them away from all that and get them into a mailing list, or get them into a text, marketing, or some sort of interaction where they're dealing with me. And the reason why, and this is going to be so fitting for this particular topic, is what do you do when Periscope goes bye-bye? What do you do when Blab goes bye-bye? If you haven't, the best analogy I can use for this is, let's say that you're a regular at a restaurant, okay? And for years and years and years, you've seen this and you probably think nothing of it, but they always have this fishbowl, that is, at the front with usually matches or something like that. And those two things are probably dating me, but there's mints or whatever, business card of the place. And they would always have this, enter to win a free lunch or something like that.
Yep.
Well, yeah. So if you're going into a restaurant, let's say you're a regular patron and you've been there 25 times, but they've never done anything whatsoever to reach out to you as a customer in the form of text this to get onto our loyalty club, go here for a special deal during COVID, scan this to get the menu, because we're not giving out menus. You have to look at the menu on your phone. If they haven't done that, then Bruce, at the next time you go into that restaurant, you're a first time customer. And all I mean by that is, if you don't capture a way to talk to your audience, then every time you interact with them, it's the first time. Okay. So by having a way to get them off of the platforms or off of the different, social things that we're on, and be able to talk to them, when a Blab, when a Periscope, when enter your platform here, because there's been literally hundreds over the last decade. When they leave, you have now a way to say, hey, we're off of Blab, but guess what? I just found Haps. I just found Heckle. By the way, I do this podcast. I go here. I do that. So that's the reason I'm on Haps.
Excellent. And so you're talking about going to a mailing list and getting people to interact with you. And that's the key to pretty much all social media is you don't own these platforms. So you want to build your own list. And again, that's, I think, why most of our listeners are watching, is to get ideas on what is the best way to be discovered so you can grow your list. And have you discovered that video works better than other platforms?
It works best. And the reason why is because even though, you're still getting there's a picture of an apple on the internet with itself looking in the mirror, and the front's this beautiful apple. It looks like the apple that the witch gives, Snow White. On the back, it's got a big bite out of it. There's a worm coming out, and it's starting to, get nasty. And that really is the internet in general. We're always seeing people on their best day. But I believe, and this is a humble brag, but you're getting me, whether you're getting print, audio, video, or meeting me in person, you're getting the real Wes. With this mug, come on, Bruce. I'm no Brad Pitt, and I know it. I'm not acting like I drive a Lamborghini and I don't have any servants. I'm not going to be standing in front of a private airplane. I fly coach, so I think that video, even though you can do the things I just mentioned, for the most part, it adds a validity and almost a, kind of a, I don't know, almost like a stamp of, okay, I kind of know this person. And what's funny about it is, me, yourself, and 10 other people could have the exact same offer, and you'd be amazed to see how people pick and choose who they want. So I think that, like I said at the beginning of the call, facts tell, stories sell. If you're doing a video and you're making facial expressions, and you're laughing and you're smiling and you're giving them the straight at the camera look, right, it's going to be a lot more engaging. It's going to be a lot more kind of real. And the other thing is that you said it a couple minutes ago and kind of didn't say it, but we need to put the social back in social media. It's all about engagement. Otherwise, why are you on here? I'm amazed at the people that don't have a call to action on these videos. I'll say, if you want to talk more, go to weswyatt.com and, do this and that. I don't do it, I guess pitch. I do it because, like I said, at the end of the day, I really want to talk to people.
Yep. And so this is the website.
Yes. Yep. And I know that guy. And what it says there, I have my hands on a lot of projects, but now that you're here, I'm glad you made it. And I mean that. I tell people, have a dynamite day, pretty much on everything. It's just one of those things that if you're looking to actually do engagement, like that video as an example, Bruce, I could have put the same stuff that's in that video in a text. It just doesn't have the same, I guess, curiosity factor. Or the other thing is again, you look at that and why would you use that face? They know it's me. So.
Yeah. So there's not going to be sound on this, but you again, one of the big advantages to video is that Google likes websites with video, and they actually rank websites with a video higher than the exact same website without a video.
I do want to give a spoiler alert to anybody that's watching this. I am gray as Santa Claus. So what you see here is just for men. I am not a paid spokesmodel, but I will tell you that it definitely works.
So one of the things we're talking about here is equipment. So you've got this piece of equipment. We're both kind of with our not DSLR cameras, but with our higher end cameras, I guess you'd call them.
Yeah. And
so we're not going to geek out on this, but how important is equipment?
Well, I think doing it is more important than the equipment that you use, because if you don't get started, you're never going to do it. So it's kind of like buying a house or having kids. If you wait until you have all the equipment, you're probably going to be waiting for a long time. I'm a several year overnight success on building the stuff that I have. The truth of the matter is, Bruce, all you really need is this, to go through and get started.
Because here's your setup.
Yeah, and if you want, I can even switch over to the actual setup that I'm using is this right here. So, hello everybody, jazz hands. The stuff that you see here is quite literally what I call mission control. Is it all needed? Absolutely not. Does it make, going through and doing things much, much easier? Absolutely. I mean, but to answer your question, do you need to have that stuff? No, you don't have to have fancy cameras. You don't have to have fancy lights. You can always go out in the sun and make sure that, you're not, got too much light on your face, and make sure that people can hear you. But at the end of the day, as long as you're not, doing this while you're talking and have your phone, bouncing around to where people are, getting dizzy and vertigo from watching you talk, you can do a great video. You can, invest in I would say the very first thing is, if you have a nice phone and you have the ability to do it, get yourself a tripod. And I don't, as usual, I don't have one. I guess I have one right here. So this is a simple little tripod that is as simple as it gets, and everything up from that. But if you just have a nice quality message and like I said, aren't jumping around too much, that really is all you need. And then one of the analogies that I always use is if you're unfortunate enough to live in a place that has snow like me. Think of it this way. You start off and you have to shovel your walk. Okay. After you get done shoveling, you might be able to invest in a blower. Okay. Then you're blowing your snow off. Then the third thing is you might be able to invest in someone coming and plowing or doing it, for you. So there's a good, better, and best, but the biggest thing is just do it. I mean, and I don't know what you think about that, but the DSLR cameras and the fancy lights, and I've got a Rodecaster Pro here for sound and whatnot. They're great, but I've watched plenty of videos and subscribed to a couple podcasts where people literally are millionaires that do their podcast every day from a Dunkin' Donuts with a phone, and probably a suction cup, holder stuck to the mirror of the windshield of their car. So I'd say just do it. I mean, that's the biggest thing is get started, and then as time allows and as the situation advances where you need to have something else, that makes the job better, or the audio better, or the video better. Do that. But I mean, it's important, but not essential. Is the best way that I would explain it. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, again, I would say what's easiest is probably best. The easiest setup I have is actually this one over here. Let me see if I can pull up the right one. So there is, actually I need to actually keep my own voice. So this one is my easiest setup, which is just my laptop. And I've got it on a stand here. And of course, you can see all the background in my man cave here. And then the other option I have is is this, which is a simple Logitech. But again, simplest is best. If you don't have a laptop with a camera on it, get something that has a camera, because I know during the early days of COVID, early days of COVID, the cameras were really in scarcity. No one could get one because everybody was going on Zoom. And now I think they've kind of caught up with demand. And
they also went up high in price. Yeah, the Stream Decks and the webcams, desks, chairs. I mean, everything that had to do with working from home went up. And you know, it's funny about the stuff that we just mentioned too, and had it happen to me today, was you can't go high tech with something like Heckle. Yeah, I mean, you know, you're stuck on a laptop or a phone or an iPad. Yeah, so I think that sometimes low tech is just fine as long as you are, you know, doing it correctly. And I'll tell you, there are probably kids, you know. I can't. I won't even pretend to know her name. I feel like her last name might be D'Amelio. That's on TikTok. You know,
Okay.
I'm sure she probably uses a iPhone. You know, for the lion's share of those dance videos. You know, and she could buy and sell our butts. You know, so yeah. I mean, there's definitely something to be said for just going low tech. Plus, the other thing is, Bruce, we can't bring this stuff with us. Yeah, I mean, we can, but I mean, you know what it's like to go to a setup. I mean,
Yep.
if I had to tear this stuff down and put it up somewhere else,
Yep.
I would cry. You know, I mean, so when it comes to the phone or you know, carrying around a iPad, you can even high tech those. And I don't have one here. I wish I would have thought to have it. But, you know, I've got a rig that you can plug both of those into, and I can mount lights and camera or microphones and stuff on it. And you hold it, and it keeps things a lot steadier and makes it a lot easier to record with. So even low tech has toys, you know, that you can upgrade before you do the DSLR cameras and, you know, Rode mics and, you know, the different things that, you know, that go along with that world. So, you know, you can do something as simple as some sort of a stabilizer selfie stick, you know, for
Right.
the camera. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can allow you to go not necessarily higher tech, but more controlled tech with what you got. You know, so.
Yep. And even just mounting your phone to a stationary tripod without the gimbal actually delivers a steadier shot.
Yeah.
So we've got some comments here from Randy, and I want to talk about Randy and how you're working with him in a second. Although we're still going good time. And hi from JLMV Chamber. This is my local Libertyville chamber, located in Lake County, Illinois. If you're looking to get involved with the Chamber of Commerce, check out the GLMV Chamber of Commerce.
I like the humor part. They must be talking about my face.
There you go. Thank you. And yeah, here you go. Good humor. And so you're talking about Randy and working with, because you produce 2 shows in addition to your own. What is the advantage of having someone behind the scenes of a live stream?
Well, the biggest thing is, and you and I talked about this off camera today, and I think just maybe a couple of minutes ago or yesterday, and that is when you're trying to go through and do everything and be the head cook and bottle washer, invariably, you know, you're doing this and you're, let me see, what key was that? And can anybody hear me? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, and you're doing all these different things. Whereas if you have a producer director on your show, if someone mentions a website, you don't hear, you know, someone trying to find it and is this the right one? And all the different things. They find it, they know it is in the background, they've already got it queued up. And then when someone says something, boom, you pop it up. There you go. Yeah, so all the different things that go along with kind of the blocking and tackling of putting up comments, deciding what comment is right. You know, we have a fellow, Bruce and I are in a mastermind together called Megamind. And one of the gentlemen I had talked about to the group at one point, and I think he might be still in the paid version of this, is a gentleman by the name of Brian Wagner. And Brian is monikered with the name, no pun intended, about the monocle, but he's Brian with one eye. So he sees through one eye, and he has one eye in his name, which is, by the way, a genius name. But if he is trying to look at the screen, and not only is one eye bad, but the other eye he doesn't see great. He sees two images because of the problem that he has. So if he were trying to go through and do the comments, in real time, and know which ones are, snarky or maybe not relevant to the conversation, or, maybe they've commented, a dozen times and he doesn't want to bring that person up again, or something like that. That's when a director can, bring the comments, the websites, different, it's like, Bruce several times has brought me or just himself onto the screen. It is just something that makes it just a little bit more professional and keeps the talent, talent, and lets them just, talk and know that you got their backs.
So do you have any great stories? Because you're producing Randy's show, which is called, what's Randy's show?
Building Wins.
Building Wins. And is that branded or is it not branded? Because and then you're doing another show with two other I'll call them people, or he's a different word, but Eric is a person defies description. Eric Bam defies description. But so you have a Penalty Box and you have Randy's show. Are they branded or unbranded? And by branded, I mean true. Are they promotional to their company, or are they just kind of something they do on a whim?
They are on a whim and branded in the sense that there are sponsors on the Penalty Box. So there is like a means to an end there, but more lighthearted. When it comes to Building Wins, Randy is definitely out there. He is the consummate road warrior and brand ambassador of going out and promoting himself and the roofs and fasteners and all the different things that he does. So without a doubt, very much a branded show. And not only that, but in addition to himself, he always brings somebody in from the industry. We pop up their website, any sort of shows that they're going to be attending, all the above. So yeah, I would say Randy much more branded. Penalty Box is shenanigans more than branding, but they both have just great times on those shows.
And so I was actually pulling up the Penalty Box, their Facebook page.
Yes.
And they do it on a regular basis.
Yes, weekly.
Yeah. And so what are the advantage of doing it weekly as opposed to doing it, let's go live today at 2:30. And then tomorrow, let's go live at 10 a.m.
Right.
So is there advantage to that?
There is, in the sense of even if it's regular and irregular, in the sense that you have a regular time, but it may not always be, say daily or weekly. When people get accustomed to a certain thing, they get just really, really upset, if that changes, so it's kind of like, I hope you can't hear it. I can. But, I've got pooches upstairs that their stomach's going off, so they know that it may not be able to tell time, but they know when it's time to eat. So I think that by having a regular show, you're going to start to build a kind of a, and this is a Russell Brunson term. I don't want you to take it the wrong way, but a culture. And what I mean by that is, if you can get people that are true fans and are evangelistic and they show up, at the end of the day, why else are you doing this, Bruce? I mean, I love talking to you. You are a wealth of information. But if you and I are doing this and you and I are the only ones that ever see it, why would we do a live show? Why would we, go through all the effort of, the lights and the cameras and the switching and all that stuff? We could do this on the phone. So if you have an end in mind, then I guess the best way to put it is you can go out there and build a mall, and it can have crystal chandeliers and Persian carpets and waterfalls and the best place in the world that you've ever went to shop. But if you build it in the Sahara Desert, it's not going to do you a whole lot good. You want it in Times Square.
Yep. And here's another great fan, Kellen.
Hi, Kellen.
So let's wrap this up. Any advice on producing content? What is the best way to get started?
Well, I mean, the best way to get started is to find a passion of your own, and be that head cook and bottle washer, and do the different things that you have to do on a broadcast to bring up comments, and you don't have to switch cameras and all that kind of stuff. You may have to look down a couple times, but after you start to get that muscle memory in check of how to monitor everything and how where things are coming up, then at that point somebody might say to you, hey, I'd love to do that, but I don't have a clue how to get on, how to do this. If you could send somebody a link, which you did to me today, and say, log in here, you'll be in a green room, I'll bring you on, when it's time to do the show, I'll put your, Wes Wyatt at the bottom of it and all the different things. All you have to do is talk. Someone would be like, I'd pay you for that, and at the same time, think about this, Bruce. There's a lot of people that just don't have the bandwidth or cost to hire somebody full time to sit and wait for them to do something like this. So if you have a price that is fair, and somebody can have you do this for them and get the word out and bring other people in and start to get that, what I was talking about, get them into a mailing list, get them on a text, marketing type thing, and start building that engagement and bring them on. It's worth everything to them. It's kind of like Picasso sitting in 80 years old in the park, and somebody said, will you do a drawing for me? And he whipped up this little 30-second image of a tree, and he said, this is going to be $10,000. And they were like, what? And he said, there's only 10 seconds that you did it. And he goes, no, it was 80 years. And so if you have that wealth of knowledge, help somebody else go out there and as an example, Kellen that just popped up, her cards that wow, I know that you work on her show, and it's something that she can just go out there and share that cards that wow with people, and know that you're plugging away in the background making her look great, and that is worth all its weight in the world.
Yep, thank you. And I think I had some questions in there. I think I'm pulling a Kellen where you had those questions, and then all of a sudden comes time to ask them, and they are something else. So actually, I got distracted a little bit by going to my LinkedIn profile, because I just got what's called creator something on the creator content for LinkedIn, where you actually are, when you go live on LinkedIn, it actually streams live at the top of your profile.
Okay.
Which I have first experienced today. So again, LinkedIn is a great platform to connect with business people. Facebook is great for connecting with, I guess, local businesses and friends and family. Twitter is pretty much your cocktail party, where the life of a video is roughly 3 or 4 minutes. So, and then YouTube. So I've discovered that by going live on multiple platforms, you're pretty much cultivating your customers and your audience from different walks of life. And again, as you mentioned with exploring Haps and Heckle, that you're meeting people you have never met in your normal, because you've got a number of followers on Twitter, and they're engaging with that community, but these are people who've never heard of you, you've never heard of them. So by exploring new venues and new platforms, you're actually expanding your content.
Yeah, and the world's a lot bigger than what you think. Like I said, you're probably in a fishbowl and don't even know it. A lot of people will say, you know, like I know that a lot of us in this mastermind know Jeffrey Gitomer as an example. You know, Jeffrey's a great guy, but at the end of the day, if you go to pump gas and you know the three other pumps that are around you, if you said, "Man, did you catch Gitomer today?" They're gonna go, "Who?" You know, and that's not a dig on Jeffrey. It's just, you know, the Gary Vaynerchuks, the the people that we hold near and dear in these different groups and sites that we're on. They probably aren't as well known as what you think. They're well known because they have permeated your world, you know, and so it's your job, if you want to be like them, to go out and permeate the other worlds, you know, because I promise you, if you're driving down the interstate, if you could look, you know, at the cars that are next to you, if you rolled down your window to the truck, you know, driving next to you and said, "Hey, you know, what do you think about Bruce's show today?" Yeah, I mean, they might go, "Who?" You know, and by the way, who are you? Yeah, I mean, and roll your window down, quit bothering me. Or back up, I should say. But yeah, I think that I think that those different platforms, if you will get out of your own bubble, can be amazing, because the idea is to taproot and get down to the next level. So the people in LinkedIn, for example, that you want to be talking to are the second people, you know, that are friends of friends. And ultimately you want to get to the threes, you know, the people that you don't even, you have no idea who they are. Yeah. And then, at that point, next thing you know, it's that, 7 layers of, or 7 layers of connection. Exactly. And so you just, get more and more and more away from that initial group. And next thing you know, they think that you're the best thing in the world, because right or wrong. And I know you're kind of up against the time here, Bruce, but I really believe that the only thing that separates people from being influencers and not being influencers, a very large portion of it is them telling you that they are or aren't. And the only thing I mean by that, and this is not to disparage him, because I like him, I followed him, I've been to his stuff, but as an example, say Tony Robbins. Okay, Tony Robbins has got a course on relationships, and he had a divorce. So he's a great guy. He's changed thousands upon thousands of lives. But the reason that you know him as being the ultimate motivator is 35, 40 years ago, he was on every late night commercial, pumping his tapes, for ultimate power, and has basically done it ever since. He is in your face, clapping larger than life, quite literally, because the man's a giant. But he is always in your face telling you, I'm the expert and I've got what you need to change. Okay. Again, is he an expert in relationships? I don't know. Like I said, he got a divorce. So, but he tells you that he is. So the biggest thing with video, in addition to just doing it, is consistency. Benjamin Franklin has a quote that energy and persistence will conquer all things. Okay. So energy in this case is action, taking action, doing it. The persistence is consistency. So if that's the case, Benjamin Franklin was a pretty smart guy. If energy and persistence conquer all things, then I think Benjamin's saying we need to start doing video and keep doing it. What do you think?
Sounds great. Excellent idea. I definitely recommend starting doing video and keep doing video and being consistent and reaching out to larger and larger audiences, because you mentioned 6 degrees of separation, because if you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, you pretty much know everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely true. Plus, you never know who you're going to meet. I mean, as an example, this COVID situation caused, this mastermind that we're in, the mega minds, to me, and threw together all these people that have all these interests and hold each other's butts to the fire. And you don't find that by being a bump on the log. I mean, you have to kind of get out there and meet new people and do new things. And then all of a sudden, you find out, you know, it's kind of like a rubber band. I mean, once you stretch it, you can't get it back to the same elasticity, you know? So once your mind gets stretched and you see, you know, like whether it's, you know, me showing you my, you know, war room here and the stuff that I've done, you might say, oh man, you know, I'd love to have that. And next thing you know, I see, as an example, Tony Robbins, you know, he's got a room, you know, that's the size of a, you know, half a football field of television screens and you know, all these amazing tools. And I'm like, I guess my mission control is not so neat, you know, but that is why you get out there and you see the new things, and you do the new things. And if you do that, you'll find that, you know, it's there's always something out there to make you just a smidge better. Because if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah, thanks. Well, you've been a great guest. We need to bring you back because I've got a lot more questions to ask, a lot more topics to cover. So we'll definitely talk to you again.
I smell a Bruce and Wes, you know, buddy show.
There you go.
All right.
We can do an after show to the penalty box, just us producers.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
So great. Thanks for talking. Everybody have a great week. And those celebrating Father's Day, have a great Father's Day. Bye.
Have a dynamite day, guys.